Chapter 41. Jenkins and Johnson had a quiet dinner. Both expressed how disappointed they were in Martin and Mason. They were two of Johnson's best attorneys. He was going to miss them. He couldn't believe what they did. What could they have been thinking, he thought. Well, they knew they probably were threatened by Motown and his thugs, and they thought that if they didn't go along, they probably would have been in a grave somewhere. After dinner, they drove over, and they walked into Judge Mentor's office and sat waiting to be announced. Judge McElroy entered the room. He recognized D.A. Johnson immediately, and Johnson introduced Jenkins to the judge. Judge Mentor came out of his office and asked the men to come inside. They all did. They all took their seats in 3 leather armchairs in front of the desk. What can we do for you? Asked Judge Mentor. Seems rather important. Well, it is, said Johnson, looking at Judge McElroy. Judge, have you had any personal contact with Motown Matthews, he asked. We have some reason to believe you have. Judge McElroy looked down at his feet crossed in front of him. He said nothing. Judge McElroy asked Mentor, what's this about? Judge McElroy, you want to tell us what happened and what we suspect happened? Asked Johnson. Go ahead, said Mentor. Johnson showed Judge Mentor the entries in Motown's ledger next to the judge's name. He also showed him the 2 prosecutors' names as well. Mark, is this true? Asked Mentor. Tell me it's not, will you? Well, it's true, all of it, he replied in a subdued voice. Why? Asked Mentor. Why? Well, Motown had his thugs kidnap Marky, my son, over a year ago, the judge began. He called about a week after it happened, and no leads were forthcoming. Detective Jenkins, you know all about that. I know there was a lot of pressure on the police to do something, but when you had no witnesses to the crime, no evidence, and no leads, what could anybody do? He said if I would cooperate, Marky would not be hurt, and that we could make some deal, stated the judge. He had me meet him with no police around down by the docks, where he turned Marky over to me unarmed, the judge continued. He said if I would make sure I was available to sit in on his cases that he was charged with, that Marky would never be hurt. I love that kid with all my heart and soul, Jack. You know Martha and I thought we would never have any children of our own. But when he came along late, it was like a gift, you know. I was never going to let anyone hurt Marky. No one. Go on, said Judge Mentor. Well, he also said that he would compensate me for my services. It was later that a large manila envelope. They all began showing up with cash in $100 bills. He reached on to his briefcase, and here it all is. Judge McElroy pulled out all 7 envelopes out of his briefcase and placed them on Judge Mentor's desk. He closed his case and placed it beside the chair again. I didn't need the money, continued McElroy. I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want Motown to get upset and take Marky again. I never asked anybody's office or the prosecutors to take it easy on any of Motown's cases, and I honestly never did anything to give him a break. He did seem how satisfied things were, so I never said anything to anyone, mainly out of fear. I don't need to remind you guys how these guys work. They can leave bodies, and they can make them disappear without a trace. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to see crime scene tape around the body of my son. Bill, what does your office want to do here? Asked Judge Mentor. Listen, I have no axe to grind with Judge McElroy, D.A. Johnson responded. I have no reason to believe he ever contacted our office looking for a favor. I can certainly understand the judge's situation here, especially when your kids are involved. I think all of this can stay in this room. We may need the judge to testify later and bring up Motown on charges of bribery and kidnapping if we need it. If that's agreeable to the judge, asked Johnson. Mark, are you agreeable? Asked Mentor. Yes, that's the least I can do, I would think, he replied. Just let me know when and where if you need me. Judge McElroy, said Jenkins, I'm so sorry we're not much help to you. I can sense your frustration and fear. We sense it every day. It's very frustrating, but when it's your own kid, well, that's another matter. I'm not sure if I would have handled your situation any better than you did. It gets tough to know what is right or wrong in cases like that. Just let me know the next time if you would. We probably would have told you to do what you did anyway. Seems like the only sensible course of action you could take. Nobody wants to see their child hurt. Listen, guys, I know I should have told someone, said Judge McElroy. I was just so scared for Marky, I wasn't thinking of much else at that point. My wife was so upset, and you can understand that, I'm sure. Do you guys need me for anything else? No, said Jenkins. I think the file on Motown is just about to be closed for good. Judge McElroy got up from the meeting. He shook everybody's hand. And Judge Mentor asked Johnson and Jenkins to stay for a moment. I just want to thank you for how you handled this today, said Mentor. Mark is a great judge, a real caring person. He and his wife Martha are great people. Marky has brought a lot to their lives. Mark was just being very sincere today. Thanks again for understanding. No problem, said Johnson. Take care, Judge. Nice to see you, Sergeant Jenkins, said the judge. I owe you one. Johnson and Jenkins went to their cars and headed home for the night. It was going to be a big day tomorrow. They both hoped for a good night's sleep. They were going to need it.